So Steve Livingston is in central Indiana. It's the middle of October, and they're sitting along a standing cornfield with pretty good conditions. It's cool, and everything's kind of playing into their favor, as good as it can get for this time of the year. So not long after camera light, Steve and Jim got a doe that's coming down the edge, and they've got a pretty big primary scrape right underneath the tree they're in. And not only does the doe walk in, stop, work the scrape, she smells around, she nudges it, she's letting the bucks in the area know that she's available, and she's doing that by urinating in this community, this primary scrape. Shortly after she does that, another key to this hunt is as she's walking off through this opening, she hesitates next to this solo single weed, and she stands right next to it. Not only does she probably still have urine that's dropping, but she's also got the scent that she's emitting from being an estrus. All of that's being deposited in this one spot. So Steve makes sure he wants that doe to clear the area, and then he's going to go right into a calling sequence, because again, the time is ripe to get a buck to respond and hopefully come into the calling. And if he gets in nose shot of what's just happened in front of him, you know, there's a really good chance the buck's going to tie together all those things and come right into him. So as soon as that doe clears the area, Steve starts off with a light rattling sequence with the black rack. And Steve rattles with the black rack. Not only does it not spook her, it actually brings her back in. In her mind, there were two bucks out there, and that's what she was looking for. The sound that's emitted from the black racks is as realistic as two bucks standing there squaring off themselves. You know, calling isn't always just for bucks. You create that scenario, and when you can get a hot doe to react to it, it doesn't get any better than that. So shortly after Steve does the calling sequence with the black rack, they spot a buck come out of the corn about 90 to 100 yards down the field edge there. This buck comes out obviously to the black rack, spins, starts to come towards him a little bit, and then hangs up. Well, at this point, Steve makes a couple deep buck grunts on the extinguisher. This really tells you exactly the mindset of this buck at this time. He doesn't want anything to do with a mature buck. He's looking for that doe that he knows in the area. You can see he tips his head up, he lip curls, he catches the scent, all the scent that's been laid down by this doe. And instead of coming down and getting into a challenge with a more mature buck, he goes back into where he knows that doe has been, and that's back into the corn. Basically all they can see at this point is this rack moving, and what they can see is this buck is moving away from them. He moves him out of slide up and gives him that one short doe bleat. And you can immediately see the reaction from the buck. He is coming on a beeline. They have now completed the illusion that they've been creating all morning. And he walks directly to where that doe earlier stood by that single weed standing in that opening. That deposit of scent there stops him in his tracks, and it happens to be a perfect shot for Steve. Communicating with whitetails is based on so many different things, and you really can't have a plan other than having the right tools with you, which would be the extinguisher and the black rack. Other than that, when we go to the tree, we've got to let the conditions and what's going on dictate how we call, and this hunt's a perfect example of that. This whole hunt unfolded because of a hot estrus doe showing up right off the bat in the morning. She deposits all kinds of scent, and she creates a scenario that they would be able to capitalize on. That dictates how Steve is going to call in the morning, and you see the full gamut of calls that he goes through. He rattles with the black rack, which immediately gets the buck out. When the buck leaves, he adjusts his calling based on the scenario that's playing in front of him. And with one short doe bleat, he spins around and offers him a perfect shot. It all happens because of a hot doe and calling from a doe's perspective. So many times we think of whitetail communication as being crashing antlers and deep buck grunts, and you're trying to get a mature buck to come in to challenge. Well, in this case here, the calling sequence that eventually would prove fatal to this buck, all based off of a hot doe in the area. And when you can get a Lovestruck buck that is out of his mind looking for a doe, and you feed him what he's looking for, it's going to end up being a pretty good day for you.
Want to experience the same results you just witnessed? Use what the Deer Society experts use. The Extinguisher Deer Call and Black Rack Rattling System are the highest rated deer communication systems of all time, and less than 1% of deer hunters will have the opportunity to buy one this season. Get yours today at thedeersociety.com. Order now.